The Smith and the Fairies. Years ago there lived a man in Crossbrig, a smith of the name of MacGregor. The man had an only child, about 14 years of age, who was cheerful, strong, and healthy. All of a sudden he took ill. He took to his bed, and he moped entire days away. No one could tell what was wrong with the boy, and the boy himself either could not or would not tell how he felt. He was wasting away fast before his father's eyes. They were all afraid that he would die. At last one day, after the boy had been lying in this condition for a long time, getting neither better nor worse, always confined to his bed, but with an extraordinary appetite, one day, while sadly thinking these things over as he stood idly at his forge, he had no heart to work. The smith was agreeably surprised to see an old man who was well known for his wisdom and knowledge of out-of-the-ordinary things. The man walked into his workshop. Instantly, the smith told the man of his troubles. The old man looked grave as he listened, and he sat for a while deep in thought. Thus he finally answered, "It is not your son that you have. Your son has been carried away by the fairies. What is in the bed is a changeling." "Alas, how am I to ever see my son again?" asked the smith. "I will tell you," said the man, "but first we must make sure that it is a changeling. What you must do is find as many broken eggshells as you can, arrange them around the bed, and then fill them with water and carry each 2 by 2 as if you were carrying a very heavy weight." The man carried out the instructions. He had not been long at work before there arose from the bed a shout of laughter, and the voice of the boy who had been sick, exclaiming, "I am now 800 years old, and I have never seen the likes of this." The smith returned and told the old man what had happened. "Well now," said the sage, "did I not tell you it was a changeling? Your son is in a round green hill frequented by fairies. We must get rid of that intruder as soon as possible, and then you will get your son back. What you must do is light a very large and bright fire before the bed on which this intruder is lying. He will ask you, 'What is the use of this fire?' and you should answer him at once. You will find out presently, and then you will seize him and throw him into the fire. If it is your son, he will beg you to save him. If it is not, he will fly out through the roof." The smith again followed the old man's advice exactly, kindling a large fire, answering the question put to him, just as he had been directed to, and then seized the child and flung him into the fire. The changeling gave an awful yell and sprung through the roof where the hole was to let the smoke out. On a certain night, the old man told him, the green round hill where the fairies kept the boy would be open, and on that night the smith, having provided himself with a Bible, a dirk, and a crowing rooster, was to proceed to the hill. He would hear singing and dancing and much merriment going on, but he was to advance boldly. The Bible he carried would protect him against the fairies. On entering the hill, he was to stick the dirk into the threshold to stop the door from closing completely. Once you are in, the old man said, you will see a spacious apartment, beautiful and clean, and standing far within, working at a forge, you will see your son. When you are questioned, say that you are there to get your son, and you will not leave without him. Well, not long after this, the time came, and the smith sallied forth, prepared as instructed. Sure enough, as he approached the hill, there was a light where there should not have been, and then soon a sound of music and dancing and merriment. Overcoming every impulse of fear, the smith approached the threshold steadily. He stuck the dirk into it as directed. He entered, protected by the Bible. The fairies could not touch him, but they asked him with a good deal of displeasure what he wanted. He answered, I want my son, and I will not leave without him. Upon hearing this, the whole company roared with laughter. But their laughter woke up the rooster, who was sleeping in the man's arms. The rooster at once leaped on his shoulder and crowed loudly. This incensed the fairies, who seized the smith and his son and flung them out of the hill. They flung the dirk after him, and in an instant the door slammed shut, and all was dark. For a year and a day the boy never did a bit of work, and hardly ever spoke. But at last, one day, sitting by his father and watching him finish a sword he was making for a chieftain, one which he was very particular about, the boy suddenly exclaimed, That is not the way to do it, and he took the tools from his father. He set to work in his place, and soon fashioned a sword the like of which has never been seen in this country. From that day the young man wrought constantly with his father, and became the inventor of a peculiar weapon, which became famous throughout the land. Their fame spread far and wide, and gave them the means to live in abundance, and as they had before had the disposition to live happily together, they lived happily ever after.